is love? All people, whether they have a partner or not, often ask the question, what is love? Is love unconditional? Does love mean being with the same person all your life? Love can mean different things to different people. Our intention is to know more about what love is. It's a love fest at Tabernacle with us tonight. We are celebrating the many ways God demonstrates his love toward us and how we share his love with others. Good evening, my fellow E Street members, followers, and associates across our social media platforms. Our Heavenly Father places great emphasis on love. He is, after all, the very essence of love. For God commended his love toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Romans 5, verse 8. As believers, God's love for us and his commandment that we love one another calls us to a higher level of attitude and action in our friendships, intimate relationships, or social and community outreach. Tonight, we explore our love for each other and our community as we seek to reflect God's love in every aspect of our lives. The 2023 National Crusade took on a different format from previous years. Members of the Church of God of Prophecy, Bahamas, would no longer gather together inside the four walls of the church for an entire week. Presiding Bishop Franklin Ferguson launched a new vision that saw members of East Street and other local churches reach out into the community, praying with persons, ministering, leading individuals to Christ, and seeing where we could meet the needs of persons living in very difficult circumstances. God got all the glory, and we were able to touch lives near and far. I would now that you take a look of our activities during Crusade 2023.
Good evening. I'm Philip Benderby from the East Street Church, and been asked to coordinate the outreach for East Street Church. And I'm pleased to say that we have been blessed in a tremendous way as we walk the streets of Bain and Grantstown. We've actually designed several groups, and of course, each group was responsible for a street or 2 blocks, and their mission was really to go through those streets in the preliminary stages, as we call phase 1, to prepare to meet the residents and introduce ourselves as members of the church, and with the objective of the national overseers to go into the highways and byways under the theme, "Come unto me." And so we are pleased that over 500, nearly 600 invitations were given out during the phase 1, the first week. And of course, the phase 2 being this week, and today being the last day, where we actually in the field. We are on the streets in all of our groups. We've had tremendous success. The Lord has blessed us. To date, we can account for 20 souls being converted and accepted Jesus as Lord and Savior. And so we give him glory and praise for all that was done. And we really appreciate the laborers. We say that the harvest is truly great and white. The laborers are few, but we thank God for the laborers who came out and each night, and they went on the streets, introduced themselves, and spend time with the residents, and a number of them, as I said, accepted the Lord Jesus Christ. This is a tremendous objective a tremendous project by our church. And we are called to make disciples. We are called as believers to go out and make disciples and cause others to come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. So I believe it's an important initiative of the church, and one no doubt that has to be continued because this is the mission of the church. This is the business of the church, enlisting souls for the kingdom of God. And so we entreat everyone who have a desire to cause others to know this Christ that we talk about, to be excited about the message of Christ and be excited about their salvation, so that we can be missional in our overall objective in causing one to come to the kingdom of God. God bless you, and I'm enjoying myself on the street. I'm sure most of the members in our group are also, and we thank God for the opportunity that we can serve in this part of the vineyard.
I went to a house with my team members. We went to a house, and when we went into that house, the lady recognized me as Hewlin Hannah, and she said to me, "I am so happy to see you." She said, "Because more than 20 years ago, you had the occasion to encounter my daughter." She said, "My daughter was going to a particular school." She said, and she got into problems. She injured another student to the extent that the head of the student was bloodied. She said, "I and my colleagues took her daughter, took her to Southern Police Station. Once at Southern Police Station, we proceeded to take this young child on a series of community service without the mother knowing. This was all news to me." She said every evening for whatever the period was, her daughter would get up and would go out in the uniform and say she's going by the police station. She kept asking her daughter, "Why are you going to the police station in uniform?" The daughter told her, the daughter found a way around answering. The mother did not know at that time that we had her daughter on community service, and we insisted that she come in uniform. I'm going to tell you the significance of this. The mother said to me when we went into that home, "Mr. Hannah, had I known what my daughter was going there for, you all would have had to arrest me because I didn't bring her up to get into no fights, etc." Here is the report today. We went into this house. There were 3 young people in this house. These were the children of this daughter. I had the opportunity, by the grace of God, to lead 3 young people to the Lord Jesus Christ. Guess who they were? These were the children of the very same young woman that we had taken to the station, who got herself in problems. But it gets better. I asked the mother, who is now the grandmother of these 3 young people. I asked the mother, I said, "Where is your daughter?" She said, "My daughter is right here." The daughter came in. As soon as the daughter walked into the store, the daughter said, "Mr. Hannah." And then she proceeded to tell me how today she's a saved person, how her children were brought up in the proper way because of her encounter with us. We would never have known that. What is the point? As we went through communities and as we impacted communities upon communities and young people by the scores, yes, we saw some persons who are problematic and who will get into trouble if they don't turn themselves around. But you know what we saw? We saw hope and potential. This is worth its weight in gold. And so, what is the church going to do? Post Crusade 2023. We have scores of telephone contacts. We know these people, they know us. And so we're going back into communities, reigniting the fire that has been started. But not only that, reacquainting ourselves with people who we know. We have street reach here at our church. There's a young woman who I met through Peter Street, and the young woman was able, or Broom Street, the young woman was able to say to me, "Mr. Hannah, I went to Street Reach. She is now a teenager. She has already gotten a scholarship to go off to school to study occupational therapy." And when I asked her about what the impact of this church had on her, the incredible things this young woman had to say. So we're doing the right thing by divesting ourselves of ministries that are locked indoors and getting into communities, seeing what is really happening in communities. I say to God be the glory. I thank the teams that came out and that were working very, very aggressively and intentionally to touch these persons in this community. What do I feel about this work? I feel as if there's a paradigm shift in ministry. We can stand up and we can promulgate the gospel from our pulpits all we like, but until where we go, where real people are who have real issues, we will not do the work that God has called us to do. There are drugs in these communities, guns in these communities, contraband in the community, but even worse, there are people with evil intentions in the community. Our job as a church then is to penetrate the heart. Our job, where resources are present within our control, is to access those resources so that people can help. Where those resources cannot be accessed by us as a church, then there are state agencies or quasi-state agencies that we should be able to refer people to so that they can get the help that we need. We can do this by the grace of God. We can do this if we understand and have a reinterpretation of the ministry and the mission of the church. Times have changed. We must change with that time. I'm excited about this. I feel good about this. And I hope and pray that the fire that has been kindled in us as a people, not just pastor-centric, but Christian-centric, I think that if we can get a hold of this and allow it to resonate in our own lives, we can blaze a trail for God.
What is so special about love? Love is a very special feeling. Anyone who has felt love in their lifetime will agree that it is one of the strongest emotions humans can feel. The special thing about love is that apart from giving unconditional love to your partner, love also teaches you a lot of other significant lessons in life. Love teaches you to be kind, compassionate, and selfless. It helps you put others over yourself. Be kind and empathetic toward them and be able to look over others' imperfections. Tonight, we will hear from two couples about their journey together in holy matrimony. Minister Earl and Sister Denise Beneby share now their story of marriage, followed by a special violin selection from Sister Angel Beneby.
Just give us a little glimpse into how you both met.
You want to start?
Yeah, let me start. Well, 1983, I joined Barclays Bank East Bay, and that's when I met Earl. He was already working there, and I met him there.
So when I saw, I said, well, there's some potential here, right? And I prayed, asked God to give me somebody to be right for him. And so when she came, and I got to meet her, we started out as friends, really. And then after that, it developed from that point. And this is where we are today, from that point to where we are now. And you gotta like the person, right? That's extremely important. You want a person that's to have a personality that's attractive to you. Obviously, you gotta be in love, right? Before you get married, but you have to like the person. You gotta be able to communicate, have things in common. So that friendship part is extremely important. Can't overlook that.
What has kept our marriage? Well, we will be married 34 years, the 18th of February. 34 years, and we dated 5 years before. So we've known each other almost 40 years. And what has kept our marriage? Firstly, God as the head of our home. And secondly, as Earl, as a very good leader that he is, it's so easy to submit to his leadership. Him as the head of our home. And, we have 3 kids and 2 have autism. So that has been very difficult. But I know he's going to give his perspective, so I don't want to just, talk about everything.
You could talk, that's your led. Right? You could do that.
Okay, then. Well, let me say something else.
Hold on a second. Let me get a couple of words in here, right? No, she hit the nail on it. In terms of Christ is the center of our home. I can't imagine all the experience we have had without Christ being the center, right? In our prayer life and everything we do, our decision making, it is Christ. So we start there. And then you have to care for the person. You have to care in terms of their needs, try to understand them and try to see if we can meet the needs of the person, both of you, and should work towards that. And then, of course, I can't speak to so much so the importance of communication, right? You got to be open, you got to be talking, no matter what challenges you have, you'll be prepared to talk. And then there's trust, okay? That trust is extraordinarily important in the marriage, all right? You have to be able to trust each other, whatever responsibilities you decide to take on, each one of you have to agree, this is how we're going to do it, and then trust the person to do what they agreed to do. There's a ton of things I could talk about, but it's a short interview, so I'll stop that right there, right? In terms of those are some of the key themes when you're talking about keeping a marriage going for a long time.
So I'm hearing Christ, I'm hearing communication, trust. All of these are fundamentals, and if we can get those aspects in order, we can continue to have another 30 plus years.
Yes,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Marriage.
Absolutely.
So what are some activities that you all like to do together?
Well, as I said, I have 3 kids and 2 have autism, so a lot of our activities are family oriented. We recently renovated our backyard just to cater to that. So now they have the pool and they have a trampoline, and then we have a gazebo with a TV in it. So because when I was younger, I was had more energy to take them out in public. I know it's very good for them to be mixed in, but I'm a bit over 50 now, so that energy isn't there all the time. And so just to give them a different atmosphere, a different setup, we can just say, let's go into the backyard, and we can be there for hours enjoying nature.
Basically, it's family, right? And the situation we found ourselves in, 2 special kids, engendered that. Family is not just the backyard, it's movie night, right? Sit together as family, watch movies and that sort of thing, right? In terms of me and the niece, right, you don't travel. This woman like to travel, right? And when we first got married, because we didn't have kids for like 4 years, and so that was, I think, wanted to see the world. And so we traveled, we started with Florida and going from that point. After the kids came along, that took away a lot of the time and so forth. But we got a little bit more time now, all right? So we're back to the traveling, to Europe, other places and so forth. I love the world that God created. I love it. And I asked the Lord, let me see it before I die, right? So certainly these are the things we do. And we also, in terms of our time, right, when we go out and be together, we go at least, say, once a month to the minimum, right? That we go and dinner or lunch or breakfast, some time together like that. It could be on the beach, it could be whatever. It's important that we actually do these kinds of things. So that's a sample of the kind of activities that we'd be involved in.
Awesome. So I know you mentioned that you have 2 special needs children. Yeah. Has that ever, I guess, took a toll on the marriage?
Yes. I would say it has definitely done that. We had to make a decision when it was just one Justin, because with him, we didn't have the second child in 9 years. So we decided that I would stay home and cater, it was really difficult. And I was, early 30s, Earl was 30, so it was really difficult. And, the divorce rate with parents with special needs kids is 80%. So in my mind, first, of course, I'm dependent on God, right, to help me. But also in my mind, I said, you know what, Denise? Earl has a very stressful job. You ain't making no money. He has to stay on his job. So I took it on myself that I did everything for those kids. When it was 1, then 2, then 3. A lot of women may say, when my husband come home, now you need to take this stress. But 90%, 99% of the time, I did not give that to him. I took that on because I didn't want divorce in my family.
The thing about it, divorce was never going to happen, right? So this was in my imagination, right? I could never see myself under those leaving her to deal with that alone, walking away and being selfish about that, right? So that was leaving a consideration. But so I thank God in times of matchmaking, God gave me the woman, right, that I need because the circumstances that we were going to face. And she's a banker, I'm a banker. She understood the demands of my job. And so that's the way why she was thinking the way she did, right, to do this, right? But she's been Catherine, she's been amazing, right? In terms of how she dealt with these children that were coming up, the sacrifices, the fact that she allowed me to do what I needed to do, right? To do what I needed to do. And I thank God for her. I can tell you so much things. Like I said, you really got a little bit of time, right, for me to talk about this stuff. But she has been fantastic. And every day I thank God for her. I think about all the phases we've gone through with our kids, right? And the one thing I continue to speak to is my trust in God. Whenever you got to the point you think, God, how am I going to make this thing? Right? And God gives us exactly what we needed.
And the person?
At the time, whether it's a person, whether it's a situation, to continue to go on. It's no mistake for anybody who's in a special situation. It's no mistake. All right? God has allowed this for you, right? So you could be a blessing to other people. People look at her and say, how could she be smiling? And that's God. That's God who's doing that. And you take it on, you cannot, because there was tons of unknowns about this. I could tell you stories forever in terms of when we started, how do we work through this. But God is it. You don't know, but He knows. And you got to have that tremendous confidence in Him. And think about how He used your situation to be a tremendous blessing to other people. Did we suffer any loss? No, nothing that's important. We still could live our lives. And as time goes on, He opened up doors. The things you thought you would never get, God opened that up, and you still get back to traveling now. That was a dream we had. God, let me see the world. We're back to that, right? So God gives us what we need, and every day you can have patience. Some days are more difficult than others, right? I guess you have to do another show if you want to talk about this stuff.
I know, it sounds like,
this
wow.
is another show, right?
Yes.
If you want to talk about this. But it's that trusting and having patience. We know about other people in the circumstances is a difficult thing. And it's a lot of unknowns. It is God. And you love each other, you support each other, you pray together a lot. Right? A lot. Trusting God to do this. And God answers. God answers.
Yes, He does.
Not the way you might want. Right, but he does answer, and that's how we made it choose every day. So our kids to us, to be honest, our kids to us now at this stage, our children, is children.
Yeah, children.
That's it.
They're nonverbal, but they're children.
They're children. We see them as that. There's nothing, we don't get used to the routine. That's what it is, right? And we thank God. It's God. God, I can't take credit for nothing. It's God.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
So on a lighter note, final. What is one thing you absolutely love about Sister Denise, and what is one thing you absolutely love about Mr.
I'll go first. What I absolutely love about him is that he's a writer. He just wrote me a love note a few days ago.
Hold on.
And sometimes I just pull on the side of the road and I read it again. In fact, I store them in my email from years ago and I could go back and pick one. He just makes my heart beat. Mm-hmm.
And that's that voice to be right to you, right?
The person, but I know it's you.
That's an anonymous voice to be right to her, right?
I love that. I love that.
She's a personality is what attracted me in the first instance, right? Besides the physical stuff, right? Yeah. But her personality, right? She has a tremendous sense of humor. And she's bubbly, full of life. And I love people who are like this, understand the beauty of life and life is a gift. This is what she is. And her patience with me, because you know how men go, we distracted and stuff like that happening all the time. And her tremendous patience with me to come around and get it right, right? And just to kind of bring it together like you should. So she's just so amazing.
thank God for Minister Earl and Sister Denise, who were so transparent with their love and commitment to one another. And what a pleasure it was to hear the talented young Lady Barnaby. May God continue to bless each of you as you walk the path that He has ordained for your lives. Next, we hear from Minister Janet Grant and her team as they lead the women of the East Street Church in a community breakfast and outreach initiative. Following will be a segment of Who Do You Love and Why? It is just a glimpse at the wealth of love that we have for one another and what causes our hearts to come alive with love. Let's hear now.
The experience today was an awesome one for all of us. My involvement entailed being the organizer for the social committee. The objective was to cater to 200 plus individuals, and I thank God we surpassed that amount. In the total that persons that we served today was approximately 300, give or take 330. And it's like Maxwell House says, it was good to the last drop because everything went. So indeed, I am thankful. I give thanks to my committee members and to all the persons who assisted in volunteering their service, 1, 2, donating the items, and 3, helping to serve them. Also, special thanks to the men, even though it's a women's ministry, but the men that were involved, which included Brother Felix Walking, Brother Rick Micklewhite, and of course, Brother Troy. And it got to a point where the persons that came in at the time that they had come, the items that we purchased were complete, and Brother Rick went ahead, purchased some more containers, went in the kitchen and cooked some grits for us, and we were able to complete our mission. I say to this, to God be the glory. And again, this is something that I love.
Wow, my experience was awesome. Reason why it was awesome, because I loved the way how it turned out from the crusade time, like when we gone out to witness the people and see how the people out there is so hungry for God. Right now, I keep telling like some of my people who I meet, if the Church of God of Prophecy people, like the labels, could go out there to reach to the people, and it would be a little more better. But right now, what Sister John did, it only could be the calling of the Lord. Reason why I said that, because, everybody is fresh from the crusade, and she comes right on with this. Like, we went back out there, give flyers, give it to the people, and people are so hungry, like to get whatever you can offer them. But mostly they wanted to know if somebody comes out there to them and to say something but God. People out there is hungry. They need to hear the word. And once we could reach out there to the people, we awesome. And we get more members into the church. Go back on the street. Let's fight for the people. The people need the Lord.
This has been such an awesome experience. And just before the crusade, we were able to go in the community and seeing the needs of people. There are so many people in the community that are hurting. But after the crusade, we decided that, hey, we need to get back in the community. Let us reach out. Let us have a free breakfast. Normally on a Saturday morning, on a mission weekend, we will normally come in and have our morning glory. But that has been a change of plan. So the Spirit just prompted us to do a breakfast, a free breakfast, giveaways, reach the community. And we went through the community on Thursday with flyers. And guess what? They were so excited to see us. And so when we enter on Thursday, look here, they remembered our names. And so we invite them down to come. And guess what? They told us that they are going to come. And trust me, Sister Catherine, they came in full force this morning. They were excited. You know what touched me the most this morning? Even after all of this here, a gentleman said to me with tears in his eyes, he said, and I asked him, I said, why are you crying? He said, you all touched my heart to see what you're doing. You're giving love, you're showing love in the community. And he said, this is what it's all about. to give back to the community, to share even with the food and the clothing. And that's what Jesus did. That's what he did. He actually fed the people. He clothed them. And that's we as believers, as we need to do as a ministry. Let us reach the community. And whoever, it was just 1%, but I am just happy and I'm blessed that we were able to come in the community this morning and to share with the blessings of the Lord and what God is doing within this ministry.
My name is Gary Ray Goodman. My love and my beautiful wife, her nickname is Red Rose. Her name is Denisa Goodman. I really love her because she's a blessing to me. She means the world to me. She did some things that I can really appreciate a wife to do to her husband. And I hope that this Valentine she has a great day and appreciate me the same way that I love her each and every day of our life. But most of all, we have to love one another, but put God first in whatever we do or whatever we say in our lives.
My name is Deshawn, and I love my husband, Mansa Roberts. Why? Because he's been a friend, he's been a confidant, and he's been my husband for 31 years.
The person I love next to my mother is my grandmother, Minister Natalie Beatrice Ferguson. My Grammy B is the most beautiful and elegant lady in the world. She is the eldest and only remaining sibling in her family, and for this I am grateful. My Grammy taught me the ways of the Lord and how to reach out to Him for everything I need. My Grammy is one of the persons behind my success today, thus far in my life. She takes care of my entire family. She has taught me how to respect my elders and how to always remain focused. My Grammy is nice, kind, and loving. She teaches me to keep things in order at all times. Grammy B is like my second mother, my best friend, my sister. I love to hear her praying for me and my siblings because it reminds me that she always has us on her mind. I love you, Grammy B.
I am Minister Donna Delancey of the East Street Tabernacle. I love Jesus because He first loved me. He shed His blood on Calvary, and I am who I am today because of His grace and His mercy. God's grace and God's mercy that have me alive, well, and living a victorious life through His Son, the blood that was shed on Calvary many years ago, that I am now a child of the Most High King. So that is, and because of God's love, God's great love, I have love for all mankind, my husband, my children, my grandchildren, my mother, all my siblings, all of my family and my friends, and especially the body of Christ.
Good evening all, my name is Caitlin Micklewhite, and who I love and why would have to be my dear late grandmother, Carmen Vanilla Hepburn. And the reasons why I love her, to explain all of them, this video would be never ending. But in short, Grammy was a true inspiration to me. She was my other half, my confidant, the person I could come to with any problem. She was a shoulder I could cry on. She was my spiritual advisor, and she was my best friend. And although she's not here, she lives through me vicariously every day, and I know she's in a better place, and I will continue to let her memory live on through me. And that is why I love and why. Thank you.
For our final exploration of love, we will hear from Brother Lyndon and Sister Lynette Maycock.
Welcome to Tabernacle with us. We have the Maycocks with us. We're so excited to talk to you about your journey through matrimony, the bliss, having a wonderful family. So, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. We're going to tackle our very first question. I want all of the secrets, all of the juicy tidbits. Tell us how you first both met.
Good evening, and it's a joy to be here, Yolanda. My name is Lyndon Maycock. I'm the 7th child of Arthur and Rose Maycock. 12 siblings, and one has passed. Both my parents have passed, and so I'm delighted to be here today.
And I am Lynette Beneby Maycock. I am the oldest child of Felix and Carolyn deceased and Thelma Beneby. And we have 3 children, Fabian, Lyle, and Layla. And we are happy to be here tonight.
We first met, well, I would have returned from university in 1992, somewhere about there. And I played in the Bahama Brass Band, the youth band at that time. And we were invited to play on a Monday night for the National Drive. Everybody knows about the National Drive. And we were outside as young men with the band boys. And this young lady passed. And that was my first time seeing her. That was Lynette. And she just caught my eyes. I was like, ooh, where this beautiful young lady, where did she all came from? And I asked my cousin Carlos, and also Carlos was home. I just recently returned from university. Carlos was home, and Carlos told me, who she was, and also my godbrother Kasigan Forbes, Carlos Dames and Kasigan Forbes, and from then, I did more inquiry, and one thing led to the next. We went away. I dismissed it after finding how young she was. And so, didn't want to rob the cradle. So one thing led to the next. And so that was my first encounter with seeing, when they say love at first sight, or one would say, your eyes were caught at first sight. So that was my first encounter.
Well, you forgot one important point.
Okay.
You told me that when you saw me, you told your friends that.
Oh yes, yeah, she was right. I did say, well, that's going to be my wife. From the initial stage, you're quite right with that.
You did say you
and as the Lord would have it, today now we're getting ready to celebrate 23 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You.
And it's been a wonderful journey. 23 years. Doesn't feel any way in terms of any toil or struggle or such. Mind you, we have our ups and we have our downs like everybody else. But it's been a wonderful journey since April 22nd, 2000.
I'm glad he got the date
right. He got the date right. He's good with dates.
Lynette, what was your initial take on it when this person approached you?
Really, truly, like he said, we were in different worlds then. He had just come off from university, and I hadn't started university yet. I think we were, 6 years apart. So I was in a different mindset then. I was still looking around to see what was out there, exploring options and stuff. So, like he said, I think we both dismissed it, not knowing that our paths would have crossed again in an unusual way.
Yeah, and the unusual way happened when we would have years or months would have gone by, and I saw one of Lynette's friends, Cipriana is now a Ferguson. Cipriana Ferguson. She used to work in the beauty salon. Was she working in the beauty salon, yes, Jan, at the time? Yeah. She worked in the beauty salon with my aunt Andrea Taylor. And I said, tell your friend she get bad ways. Right? So back then, Cipriana, she carried the news. And she carried news to the man and say, your boy, say your bad ways, and then one thing led to another. And that's how it all came about. And she always teased me. I always had one white pants. And she always used to sing in this one white short pants. So we met.
Yes, that's right. You said you'll be celebrating 23 years. So tell us a little bit about what has kept your marriage over this time period.
I think, Yolanda, what has really sustained our marriage is when we got married on April 22nd, 2000, we both understood the vows that we were taking. We both understood the commitment and the sanctity of marriage. I think that was the first thing. And I strongly believe because of that commitment, and we understood in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, until death do us part. I believe that's why God has honored our marriage for almost 23 years. I believe He has kept us and sustained us because we're very good friends. Lyndon is my best friend. So that even makes the marriage more fun. It's fun to be married to him. We always have a good time together. When we go out in our home with our family. So we enjoy each other. So I believe that is what has sustained us, and that is what has kept us over the years.
And part of it also, Yolanda, is being faithful to one another. For going on 23 years, I've never looked left, I've never looked right, never stepped out of my marriage, and I could sleep at night. And so I could snore, I speak the truth, and you don't have to worry when you are on the straight. And it could work. It could work. Being honest, being faithful, and I have examples from my parents. Okay. Living examples that I saw how my parents lived. And so that's part of what made me the man I am today. Seeing my dad and seeing my mom and how they work together. Working together is very important. You have to work together. Can't one go left and one go right. Everyone has to go in the same direction. And so with that, it makes the journey that much easier. It's like when we, as young kids, I think we used to tie each other's legs together. It's called the three-legged race. Mm-hmm. And so with the three-legged race, we join together. And so you have to be in unison and you move. And those who, when you get that rhythm and you're moving together, you win the race. And so it's the same thing. You must be joined together and you must be in rhythm in terms of how you move through life.
I think you brought up so many interesting points. So let's talk a little bit about the advice that you can give to younger couples or persons who are looking to get married. How can they get to year 23? What does it take?
I think, first of all, it takes a strong foundation. Meaning, you must have an altar in your home. Pray together, do devotionals together. Also, you must have respect for each other. You can't be disrespectful to your partner. You won't always see eye to eye, but you have to know how to approach them with your differences, because remember, you're two worlds coming together, two different worlds coming together. So you have to give them that respect. There's a lot of understanding that you have to both share, and also patience, and definitely commitment. Marriage, like Lyndon said, is not a burden, It's fun. It can be fun. But we make it a burden when you start feeling negative thoughts towards your partner. You start finding fault with your partner. You bring the cares of maybe your job and other issues into your home, and you're not free to share them with your partner and so forth. So that's where all your issues come in. If there is an issue in my home, in our home, I can respectfully go to Lyndon and say, listen, Lyndon, I did not like what you did yesterday, or I don't like when you do this or that. Okay, yeah, it may turn into argument. It may not. But at the end of the day, you both have to come together and resolve what the issue is. When you don't resolve it, that's when it keeps festering. And it festers and creates problems. So then what happens? Lyndon doesn't want to come home in the evening, so he goes out and hang out with his friends, or he finds other things because he don't want to be bothered with me, you know. Or he comes home just to have dinner and after that watch TV and go to bed, and there's no communication between the two of us. So when that happens, then you find your relationships start just falling apart, or you spend mothers so much time with the kids, up and down to activities and stuff, that when your husband gets home, you're so tired. You can't deal with your husband in terms of spending time with him, making sure he had a good day, and, you know, assisting him where you can.
Yeah, and like Lynette say, arguments gonna happen. For me, I make light of every moment. I'm a jokester. And so I try to turn it around to kind of make light of the situation. And do not compare your spouse to nobody else. What can work in our home, like we always say, old people say, can break up your home. And so you got to come to your place as couples. You got to find what works for you as a couple. And so I won't say, Lynette, well, you know, why you can't be like Sherry, you know, Sherry does this, Sherry, no, you know, Lynette is Lynette. Mind you, she get on my nerve, but that's what God gave me. She is my perfect, she's imperfect, but she's my perfect Lynette, okay? And so with that, you just gotta recognize that's who God gave you. We're not perfect people. If we were perfect, then we ought not to be here. And so I saw a caption on a church in the US, and it says, if you're perfect, this is not the place for you. And so, come on, we're working this thing every day. It's a journey, and you must have fun.
Yes.
Enjoy fun. We understand there can be some challenges, particularly financially. There are persons where, you know, especially as men, we are unable to make the bills, the kids are crying and all that stuff, but you pray. Go to bed, I go to bed 7 o'clock. You got to pray, you got to find that time where you find God and you just pray. And that's every time that see me, she say, you always pray, you sleep and talk about you praying, right? But I be praying for children like that. I be praying. And sometimes, you know, I don't want to be bothered. I said, I'm praying. Right, but I be praying for truth. And so you got to find God in everything that you do. I mean, you lay down and you got to meditate. All you got to, or sometimes all you got to say, Jesus, help me. Help me, that's all. No big prayer. You know, all this omnipotent and this and majestic and God is very simple. You know, He has, you know, He knows your heart. Yes. Sometimes you don't even need to utter a word. He knows your heart. He knows exactly what you want from Him. And believe me, He gives it. He gives you your heart desire.
Let's take a little turn for something a little bit softer, lighter.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some fun date night ideas. If you want to maybe share, if you want to, like what you guys do.
Oh yeah, Lynette is good.
Or talk generally, generally about it. Like,
she's good at that.
You can come get into to keep it fun, keep it light, to bond.
Yes.
But it can be addressed both as a couple and then as a family.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll introduce. Her name is Juicy. Juicy will talk about this.
Okay.
We don't go too deep.
Juicy's one. The Bahamas too far to the
Okay.
Go so, Juicy.
Okay. What we normally do on date nights? Well, we try every month to have a date night, just Lyndon and I, and we try to be intentional about it. Whether it is we go out to dinner, or we go to functions, but something that's going on in Nassau or what have you, but we make it intentional that we do a date night once a month, and that's our night. Some ideas for date night, going to dinner. We both like listening to music, so we'll go out and listen to some music. Or some persons like to go sit on the beach, and I know it's kind of dangerous now to do that, or walk the beach. Or he and I go on a Saturday morning and we walk the bridge and just have a chat. So we're exercising and we're chatting and catching up on the week and stuff. Also traveling, we enjoy traveling, that's our thing. So every year we do a couples trip, just he and I. And then also Yolanda, it's good when you're apart. So he does a trip with his friends, his male friends, and I do a trip with my female friends. Some other date nights are just being home together, watching a movie, laying in bed, talking, making plans and stuff like that. There are other stuff that we do together, but for the most part, with the kids, we also do something with them once a month. Layla and I started doing girl dates because I realized too she's getting bigger, and she is also busy. She has so many after-school activities. So on Fridays now, when I pick her up from her last activity, we'll go out to dinner, or we would do something together. And I realize it's important because she shares more during that time with me. And Lyndon does it with Lyle, him and Lyle. He'll pick up Lyle in the evening and they'll talk more in the car and stuff. So we try to incorporate them, in our dating as much as we can. And having family dinner on Sunday, we all sit down together as a family. And we have family time and family dinner on Sundays together.
You never told them what my nickname is.
Oh, delicious.
This is getting hot.
So we also do, my family, Yolanda, they're very competitive. So we also do stuff like that. We have game nights where we separate and we go on teams. Sometimes we go to the backyard and do races. We do obstacles, swimming races, in the pool. So they're very competitive. So they like to do stuff like that. So all that is good family bonding and spending time together with the kids.
And I was telling Lyndon, the production manager here, the lockdowns, it was such a bonding time for our family. And to see what it did to us in bringing us so much closer. The devotion and all of the whole activities that happened during that lockdown, that was a reset for us. And to this day, I kind of look back at those days and say it really brought us stronger together, and it really kind of put us in a place where we find out from our kids, more about them. And we probably would not have happened because everybody pretty much going their separate ways. They go into sports, they go doing school and stuff. But we thank God for the lockdown. It kind of reset the whole family structure for us. I can speak for us.
Well, thank you very much. But I don't want to end until I give you opportunity to say anything else about love, marriage, family.
I would say in closing, Yolanda, I would paraphrase a quote from my grandfather's book because I was careful. He said in his book, the high point of his life was his marriage to my grandmother, Victoria. And I would paraphrase that and say, the high point of my life is my marriage to Lyndon. Lyndon has done so much for our home, so much for our family, so much for me. As I told him the other day, as he gets older, his love is different. His love now is more action than words. It's silent words, but the action that he does, it's just outstanding now. And sometimes I look at him and be like, but I'm understanding him more. So What I do want to also say is that I encourage all young people. We all go through challenges. We all have ups and downs, but I say stay focused. Keep God as the head of your marriage. Stay faithful to your vows, and God will see you through. Marriage can work. Marriage is like a baby that never grows up. You have to work on it daily. Daily, you have to pour into your marriage. Give. Sometimes you take. Sometimes you have to find ways to do things differently, creatively, to keep it going. I know that we all get caught up in life, in work and other things, but you have to find time for your significant other. That is very important. And you have to, especially as women, we need affirmation, we need confirmation, we need to feel love, we need attention. So for us, we need that from our husbands. And sometimes when we lack those things, it puts us in a different place. Some women get depressed. Some women, they don't want to take care of themselves anymore, so they just let themselves go. Some women may step out of their marriage because they find someone giving them a little more attention. It's only attention that we want, That's all we want. So that is my encouragement, just to stay focused in the vows that you've made with each other, and God will honor your marriage.
A word of encouragement and godly advice for newlyweds and couples who want to continue to build on their marriage and grow in strength day by day. Thank you, brother and sister Maycock. May God continue to bless your union. Tonight, we have taken a look at love in its many forms, arriving at the biblical conclusion found in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 13. So now faith, hope, and love abide, these three. But the greatest of these is love. Until next time, I am Minister Jorenda Ramming, your host for this evening, reminding you to show someone you care about them, and to know that God's love for you is real and unchanging. It was my pleasure being with you tonight, and I hope that you've been encouraged and uplifted in the way of God's love. Bye for now. Good night.